Welcome to today's episode of Odd Pairing. I'm Paige and I'm with Natasha. How you doing today?
I'm here. Just came from Florida and I brought some kind of Florida bug back with me and it's killing me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hope you feel better soon.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But I'm still excited about what we got going on for today. So if you guys see me drinking anything non-alcoholic, it's to make me better.
It's just to soothe that throat a
Yeah.
little. Yeah. Well, we have Chris here today as our guest from JuneShine. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is my first podcast performance.
Really?
So let's see how it goes.
I'm glad that we could pop your cherry.
Yeah.
Me too. Somebody had to do it, right?
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast world.
Yeah.
I feel special.
Yeah.
What did you open for us already?
So I thought I'd start with one of the things that we do that I think is unique and cool is we do these special release kombuchas, and generally they are around some sort of influencer that is also an investor in the company. And so this specific one is a guy named Cody Ko. He's out of LA. He's a really famous like YouTube guy. I think he has 5 or 6 million followers.
Oh, that's what we're trying to get.
So probably like a little less than you guys, but not much.
I mean, maybe off by like 4 million and something,
It's a goal.
Right.
It's a goal.
Yeah, it's a good goal. I'm sure.
Maybe we'll have our own JuneShine.
Right.
We can make that happen without that.
Yeah. For sure.
We'll call it the odd JuneShine and get some weird flavors going or something.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, this flavor is it's called Hippie Juice. That's the name. Really what it is, it tastes like strawberry lemonade to me. Mm-hmm. So I poured you guys some, and I think it's refreshing and delicious.
Great for summer.
It's perfect for summer.
Let's do a quick
do
cheers.
it. Cheers. I like it.
Episode. Taste it.
Yeah.
That is
great.
good.
So how long do the one-offs stay on the shelf or like are available? Is it quarterly? Is it kind of something?
Yeah, we try to do like one a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the goal is to get them in and out. So for us, we're not trying to like get volume out of it, or we want people to have a new association with the brand, and we want to bring people that haven't tried kombucha in. So, you know, if you're a subscriber of this guy, he's going to plug it a little bit, and then hopefully we bring more people into kombucha. And obviously not everybody knows what hard kombucha is. So part of our job is to educate, and this kind of helps us facilitate that.
Yeah, reach new audiences through your partners.
Totally.
And you are a non-kombucha drinker, right?
No, I actually, especially when the non-alcoholic ones, when they first came out on the shelves, I was hardcore with them. I didn't even know.
But hard kombucha.
Yeah, this is my first.
This is your first.
Yeah,
Okay.
like hard
So
kombucha.
I also got to pop your cherry.
Yeah, look at this. All around. Pop cherries all around. Yeah, you did. You did. Yeah, this is my first hard one. Yeah.
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 Yeah, so I don't know. Kombucha is the way that we do it is we run it through secondary fermentation to bring the alcohol up, and then we flavor it. And so that's what makes it hard. Kind of interesting.
But with kombucha, you have that SCOBY,
Yeah.
right? So how big is that SCOBY for you guys?
Well, we don't let it
Get big.
get big.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
I mean, I've
right?
tried to make kombucha at home.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, this thing is gross.
So what is a SCOBY?
It stands for symbiotic culture. Wait.
organism or something?
Oh my God. Of bacteria and yeast.
Okay. And then what does it do?
So, okay, the best way to think about it is really what you're drinking is like fermented tea.
Mm-hmm.
And so we make the kombucha first, and then there's another point of differentiation, which is there's kind of two kombuchas, and there's no like right or wrong, right? They're just originated in different parts of Asia. So one is Jun kombucha, which is the style that we make, which is green tea and honey. Mm-hmm. And the other, I don't know if it has a unique name actually. I never thought about it this way.
Right.
The what I would consider classic or regular, maybe. And it probably has a better name than that, is black tea and sugar.
Okay.
And so
green tea and honey, and then black
is
tea and
Jun,
sugar.
and then the other one is black tea and sugar. And I think that what happens is with the like green tea and honey, you get a more sessionable drink. So if you, like you were saying, you're into like the regular kombucha, non-alc or whatever, you know how you get that like apple cider vinegar kind of
like the
profile?
spiciness almost.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that happens more with black tea and sugar than it does with green tea and honey. So the Jun makes the kombucha like a little more sessionable. You know, like, I don't know. I mean, you get a tiny bit of sour probably,
But not in the way.
but not like you would with non-alc.
That makes sense.
That's
That
great.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give me that apple cider vinegar-y taste. So
Like
the
bite.
Now
Yeah.
I know.
We used to have this T-shirt
What
that
that
said, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically like, and I don't even like kombucha, like because it's not that close. I mean, the process is, but the flavor profile is not that close to what you would get at the grocery store, right? They're like polar opposites almost.
Right.
So anyway, it's made it more like sessionable, and then we have an amazing team that has figured out how to use flavors and make it taste delicious.
Yeah. So every episode we do a drinking word. And for this episode, we're going to, our word is going to be pour. So
Perfect.
P-O-U-R, not P-O-O-R. So no one would attack us and think that we rich kids and we only want to attack the poor. No, we are using P-O-U-R. So every time someone says it, everyone drinks. Not
All right.
just the person who says it. That's the little twist.
And it's variation. So it poured.
Yep. You
So,
can say poured
yeah.
or pours. Whichever variation you use, we have to drink to it.
Sounds perfect.
Okay?
Sign me up.
Yep.
There you go. So with Hard Kombucha being a newer, drink to the market, like it was a huge disruptor to craft beer, right? I mean, that's kind of in a way.
It's interesting. I don't know that Hard Kombucha was the disruptor as much as just like
change in the consumer or
consumers
something.
change.
Yeah.
People every day there's a new group of 21-year-olds. I don't know. Like we don't really think of it that way. Like
Yeah.
if you so
I didn't mean disruptor in a negative way, but just somebody like coming in, shaking things up, keeping people like innovative and creative and trying to find new things that consumers would want to drink in that way.
For sure. I would agree with that. I think that we're definitely like hyper focused on the end user. And I think that that is like part of the key to success. It's like, so there's all these layers, you guys know this, and you have the distributors and you have the retailers, and before you get it, it's been through a bunch of different places, right? And sometimes when you're trying to get through all of that, you forget what the person on the end is doing. What's their experience like how are they perceiving it? And so I think we're like hyper focused on that, and that's part of the reason that it seems to be working. I also think like credit to Boochcraft, right? They were before us, and probably, I mean, educating people about Hard Kombucha is not an easy thing to do.
Right. Well, because kombucha kind of started out only in health food stores, so it was kind of like a hippie granola eating type of beverage.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah.
So to like break into, try to educate people who don't fit that profile and don't shop at those stores, but make it approachable and be like, no, this is something that you would enjoy too.
Yeah.
It's probably been an experience.
It is. It's a rewarding one too, right? I mean, people are generally like the most happy when they're learning. And so if you think about a sales call and the sales call becomes an education seminar, maybe they buy, maybe they don't, but the the act of the call and the interaction with people is generally super positive because they're learning about something that they haven't.
Yeah.
They don't know, you know? So
yeah. Well, and I think like it seems like there's a parallel between like when craft beer started taking off in that people, that was like the farm to table movement, like people wanted to know what they were eating, what they were drinking, like where that was coming from, seeing those farmers or seeing those brewers and that sort of thing. Like it just seems like it was a kind of a natural thing to look into other beverages in the same way.
yeah, it's very perceptive of you, and I would agree. And I think that
Thank you.
no, it's true though. And I think that, so like, here's an example, right? So, those are the ingredients that are in here. Mm-hmm. We're not hiding it. It's very clear. It's very obvious. We like to say like everything that's on the can is in the can. Mm-hmm. And so the company was founded by a couple of guys who could go to the grocery and find out what was exactly in their food, but couldn't necessarily get the same out of alcohol. Mm-hmm. And so if that's what you're looking for, like that's what we deliver, right? Yeah. And so if they're looking for it at the time, they can't be the only ones. So then it just becomes about like, how do we get the message out? How do we start this company? How do we do all these things, right? Which obviously takes a ton of talent and a ton of hard work, but like the premise is exactly what you're saying, which is farm to table starts. People care more about what goes in their body. They're looking for these things. And the reality is, if you think about it, like every day there'll be more people eating healthy or buying organic ingredients or whatever than there was the previous day for the rest of our lives, right? So that consumer base is like only going to grow, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a key component.
I just finished listening to Simon Sinek's, I think it's The Power of Why. And it's very similar to that, where it's like a company needs to know its why and keep its why at the center. And then you can't do your how and your what until and if you lose sight of your why, then your company will not be successful. Yeah, yeah. It seems like you guys really kind of honed in on that,
right? Yeah. Of like what is it? The video recording thing.
TiVo.
Yeah, yes, it's like a great example, right? Yeah. He's like talking about how people like use TiVo as a verb or something.
But
TiVo doesn't even really exist anymore.
Right.
Because they his point is like they lost their way somewhere along
and they kind of said like the same sort of thing of like with Microsoft or Apple, and it's kind of like when Steve Jobs left, like he was the why. He wasn't the one actually creating the technology to do it, but he was like, this is our goal. The reason that we're creating this technology is to provide this experience. And when he left, that left with him. And then when he came back, it took off again because the why was back. So it just seemed, hyper focusing on the consumer is the reason that you guys produce product, is for the consumer to enjoy. So if you don't focus on that, then it's like, why are you doing what you're doing?
It's a good point. And if you think about it, ultimately, the brand, the people that we work with, the company, all those things are great. But if it doesn't taste good, people aren't going to buy it. And this could go back to, it's the same way in beer, right? If it's really good, you can kind of make other mistakes along the way and slowly get them fixed if it tastes good. Because if it tastes good, then people want more of it, you know? So it's really a credit to like the production team.
Yeah. Well, being consistent is so important.
For sure.
Because the consumer wants a consistent product. And if you can't do that, then good luck.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
What else did you bring for us? We can pour out another one.
Oh, I love it. We'll stick on the kombucha for now.
Okay.
And then I'll do some other stuff here. So this one's fun because sometimes you make something and I'll pour you a little bit.
There you go.
And we'll get to you in a second. I'll just slide this over for you, Natasha. So you develop a calendar, right, of what you're going to release for the year. And you're sort of like making bets. Like, I think this is going to do well. I don't know about this. You hope they all do well, obviously, but like you're trying to figure out what's going to work. Mm-hmm. And so this was something that when we first started talking about it, we're like, oh, we'll just release it in San Diego, Southern California, really, and the rest of the country, we won't do it because in I don't know, Boston, you're not going to get a full shelf of JuneShine like you are here, right?
Yeah.
And people just went crazy for it, and so it 2 months ago it became our number one 6-pack.
Wow!
In I don't know 4 months or whatever, all of a sudden we're selling more 6-packs of that than any other 6-pack we have.
Wow!
It's called Mango Daydream. It's got a tiny bit of spice in it, which I think kind of rounds it out. To me,
it kind of cuts the sweetness from the pineapple.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice.
Exactly. Yeah. To me, it's like the most sessionable, drinkable one that we have. You made a comment when we were over there. You said something about, it's like super refreshing or something. And that, to me, this is like refreshment in a glass. Yeah. I just think I could drink so many of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree on that. I can taste the refreshment.
Do you get like a tiny bit of chili?
Just a little bit. I was gonna say tahini kind of taste.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Sometimes the on-prem accounts will like give it a tahini rim, which is cool.
It is cool. Yeah. I love tahini rims. Anything. I think when I moved to California and I saw that, when people were doing it, I was like, I want that on all my drinks.
Yeah, I hear you.
Doesn't come with everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Delicious. So anyway, we ended up releasing it across the country. We're actively like trying to get it in every chain store we can get it into. And it's doing really, really well.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It smells good too.
And we didn't really think that, but it kind of goes back to what I was saying a minute ago, which is like, if it's good.
Yeah. People are going to want it.
It's just, it takes care of itself. Not that there's not a lot of work to all the pieces to get it out and the other stuff, but like, it's really good.
Is it like all 50 states? Like
no, we're in 22 states.
Oh, that's good.
We kind of, the best way to think about it is kind of, we're not really in the middle, we're in Illinois and we're in Texas, but kind of the middle we're not. So all the East Coast, all the West Coast, and a few spots sprinkled in like Southeast kind of. And
what's up with the middle?
Nothing. It's just there's only so much time in every day, and we can only produce so much. It's not that we won't do it. It's just we talk a lot about product market fit. Sorry, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about the like the farm to table, or the way I talked about education on kombucha. So it's like, does Hard Kombucha fit in Nebraska?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
But will it fit in like a beach town on the East Coast? Yeah, it'd probably work.
And that's what I was just thinking too. Like when I think about how this particular, especially thinking about like health, all like aligned, kind of like those coastal cities are the ones who usually go for these, because it's more the health around it. Because when you think about like fitness, everybody's trying to get the beach body. So if they're on the beach, you know what I mean? If they live by the beach, they're going to try to, try to get that body to where it's supposed to be. So I can see why these would do great along the coastal places of anywhere around the United States. And yeah, in the middle, health-wise, when you look at like the little different pie charts with the way that different places are fitness-wise, in the middle it is. No one's really thinking about like healthy stuff. Yeah. As much as, don't trust me, they're getting into it.
Of course.
But if you're on the coastal parts if you're near a beach town, you got to have it.
Yeah.
No one wants to be fat by the beach.
Yeah. And I think, but I think too, another like key point, so I agree with you. And I also think another key point is like, look at beer, right? So, where is the best beer in the United States?
San Diego.
It's right here, right?
Yeah.
And when craft started, where did it start? You know, I mean, you can make arguments for like, obviously Oregon or Colorado or whatever, not hating on any of them. I'm just saying, like, traditionally trends will start here and then they work their way out. And for some reason, they kind of skip over the middle and then they come to the middle later. You know what I mean? So like beer kind of did the same thing, right? All of a sudden there was like a Northeast IPA. Whoever even thought of that? Like,
Right.
Wait, what? It didn't get invented here? Like, I thought everything got invented here. And when it came to beer, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden now there's great breweries in Illinois and Iowa and they're everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that we wouldn't go to those places. It means that we're not sure if they're ready for it yet, and we as a company aren't really ready for it yet. Like, we're trying to get everything
Well, you also don't want to
and-
like open a market and then not be able to fill or, you know, if there is a lot of demand or a lot of, you know, you don't have enough product.
Or people to support it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a lot. Here, it's easy to think that that JuneShine is like a big name because you live here and you see it everywhere. But if you lived in Chicago, you probably wouldn't even know what JuneShine was, you know?
Right.
Maybe that's a bad example because I think we do pretty well there. But like, you get my point. you know?
Yeah.
It's different than
Well, I
here.
was curious.
I was surprised to hear it was in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a booming craft market,
Yeah.
right? Like,
yeah,
in
I think
general?
so.
Yeah.
I think so. And they're big major cities, right? So like there's not a city the size of Dallas and I don't know, Iowa, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's also a population game a little bit too.
Yeah. Curious if there is like, do you see or get feedback on the different markets as far as what those customers want versus what your San Diego drinkers, you know, want versus your, you know, New England drinkers? Is that something that you guys kind of look at when developing things and product development?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in the Northeast, for example, I didn't know this until I worked at JuneShine. Berries are a really big thing. So they're a lot of them are grown there, cranberries, obviously. And then just kind of berry is something very traditional to like New England. So our, acai berry does really well up there. Which is interesting because we think about it as like bowls and stuff, and it does well here, you know? But like there, it does really well. So I mean, I think we are paying attention to that stuff. And there's no one fit for everyone, right? I mean, what if you hated mango? Then you'd be like, yeah, I'm out on the mango.
Right,
you know?
right.
San Diego beer lovers, come join us on the Pioneer Beer Trail, a free, narrated tour of 4 of Vista's iconic craft brewers, all from the convenience of your phone. Simply download the free show at vistamadetours.com or find Vista Made Tours on your favorite podcast provider like Spotify or iTunes. Then fire up the show and you'll hear fascinating backstories, beer favorites, and food recommendations from the brewers themselves as you travel from spot to spot. It's free, fun, and the easiest way to learn about some of Vista's originals, including Booze Brothers, Belching Beaver 980, Aztec, and 5 Suits. So come travel the Pioneer Beer Trail at vistamadetours.com or from wherever you find your podcasts.
We want to invite you to listen to the Same Business Different Day podcast, where we sit down with business owners, entrepreneurs, and great minds to talk about their stories and how they got to be as successful as they are today. If you're a business owner, this is the show for you. You get the tips and tricks from people just like yourself. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, this is the show for you. You get to hear from some of the best storytellers about their journeys. If you're an avid podcast listener, this is the show for you. We release every Tuesday morning on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to Same Business Different Day. We make this show just for you.
It's just, it's just interesting because, like going back even to beer, it's like drinking beer on the East Coast is very different than drinking beer on the West Coast as far as what the breweries are producing.
For sure. And the awareness too, like, I don't know. We're so blessed to live in San Diego if you like beer, because generally speaking, like, it's going to be really well made and it's going to be like fresh, and people have cared for it throughout the process. And like, if you travel somewhere, sometimes it's not the same.
No, I've definitely been on the East Coast and we're like, oh, a brew, San Diego brewery, like, oh, I want to try it. And like, that is not how it tastes at home.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
But people love it because it's a San Diego beer.
Yeah.
And they're like, it sells really well. And I'm like, well, you need to go to San Diego to taste that because it'll.
Yeah, any number of things could happen by the time you got it, you know?
Talking about the chain that it goes through to get across the country.
For sure.
Yeah, and that lets you know the market too, because with me not being a beer drinker, I never knew. I had been in San Diego for a while, never knew that the beer industry was so big until I started, getting into it. And then I was like, wow, it's a lot going on here. And then started seeing it in other places. And I was like, oh, wow, it really does. Like, the beer industry is huge here.
Yeah.
And I would have never known because I just didn't, I wasn't in that market. It wasn't like I was going to places like, yeah, give me a beer. No.
Well, you weren't looking for it.
Yeah. So I could see how those particular places, when you think about like what you said in terms of like the market in those particular places in the United States, of how it has to be that market for it. Like they're looking for it,
Yeah, product market fit. Fit. Right? It's like they all kind of have to work together.
Yeah.
And so all you can really do is gather like as much information as possible that's available to you and make the best decision that you think will work, and then you go for it. And really trying to do that in a way that is consumer based as you're making those decisions. I think that's kind of the key.
So I'm wondering, and very curious to know, because when you said that this particular kombucha was influencer based, right? So they had this guy who it does that extend? Do you think that when you guys do the influencer markets, because they're literally everywhere, do you think that extends some of the reach?
Yeah, I think so. I would hope so, right? So they all have like a different man, my vocabulary is off today. So they just
pull it out.
They all the idea is to extend the reach. And so like we did one with Whitney Cummings, who's like this Netflix comedian, right? And then her followers, the people that are Whitney Cummings fans, probably a lot of them have never heard of JuneShine. And so then when she's on stage drinking it or talking about it in a podcast or things of that nature, which she did, people are going to learn about it. Yeah. Which is really cool. And she's not going to go in depth and like explain JuneShine, right? But it gets people aware, and then maybe they try it, Yeah. And so it's the same with this one. We're doing a really cool one in October with this woman who's like a Patagonia sponsor. She's from Hawaii. She's like a famous spearfisher. And so like in Hawaii, a whole bunch of people that probably don't know that much about JuneShine will know about her. And so hopefully we get a bigger reach in Hawaii, you know?
Yeah.
And it's cool because it's an engaged process. It's also, there's two things that I think are like cool about it. One is they help develop the flavors. So I was
going to ask, like, what is that process?
Yeah, they come in.
Like, how involved are they?
Cool.
Because I know, like, some collaborations, people just like put their name on it and they're not involved, or they're very involved, and that's always fun.
So I think there's one of the things. So the process for the flavor is awesome because they sit with the brew team and just like a big table. There's all these ingredients out. They've had conversations. So like, I wasn't there for this one, but let's say this one, he's like, oh, I want it to be like strawberry. Okay. So then our team comes up with some creative ideas and they make like a base one. And then they'll sit down and they'll put like some fresh strawberries and some lemon and some, all these things. It's like, okay, what if you add a little of this, or what if you add a little of that? Cool. And so this person is like sitting down at the table working on the flavor. And so that becomes an important component to like what's happening. So like even this can, you see how the KO looks a little weird on there?
Yeah.
So that's part of his signature.
That is super cool.
Code, right? So he's involved. So
it's a real partnership versus
and they've all come to us. So it's not like we went and found this guy and said, "Hey, we want to pay you some money and we want you to,"
so that we can reach your audience.
Yeah, no, he's a hard kombucha drinker. He's a JuneShine fan, and like we found a natural partnership that way, and they've all been like that. And so hopefully like more people learn about hard kombucha because these people are into it. You know? Right. That's kind of the way I think about it.
That process is cool. Yeah. You know, like having everybody sit down like that and using those ingredients and trying to really like get the flavor that they want, you know, versus like, well, these are the ingredients we have. And so this is what we're going to put together for you.
Yeah.
You know,
and think
and
like
then there's some ownership
YumBerry,
in it.
like, I mean, come on.
I don't even know what that is.
So
right, I looked at that. I was like, "What is YumBerry?"
I didn't either.
I think that's fake.
I had to Google it. So when we were
New
doing
England berry or something.
That's a good idea. We should call it that. It's the definition you would find if you Googled it. It would say an Asian strawberry.
Oh.
Now
is it white?
No.
Is that the white one?
But it's not shaped the same. It's close and it's red. But yeah. I don't know. I didn't know much about it until this.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Kind of interesting.
Do you get to be involved in?
Yeah, I've done some of them. Like, it just depends. Really, I'm doing a lot of like traveling stuff. And so it just depends. I did the Whitney Cummings one, which was cool. I didn't do this one. I'm not doing the next one. So it just, if I'm around. And, but I don't know. My job's to get it out the door.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
But our production team is so good. Like, these people are amazing, you know?
Yeah. There's a lot of talent over there.
Yeah, a ton. And most of them came from a bunch of different breweries in San Diego. So it's kind of cool.
Well, I think that's neat, the crossover on top of, like, you know, their ability to stay creative and innovative with a new product that, you know, they could eventually go back to a brewery after working at JuneShine and bring what they learned back to a brewery and how they can work with different types of ingredients and stuff. It's just that sharing of knowledge is kind of what I think makes San Diego unique in that way, as far as why we have good beer.
Yeah.
So
no, I think your point about like the ingredients thing is like a great one, right? I mean, a whole team of people now has worked with YumBerry. Like, I don't know. They probably did it before. You know? So it's cool. It's a good point. And also like sourcing it too. Like that's a whole thing. I mean, trying to
because you use like real fruit and then make it down into a juice or a puree or something. You're not just using adjuncts, right?
No.
Like
correct.
It's all fresh juice.
I don't know if
or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, whether we're like actually processing the fruit or we're buying like organic fruit juice or something, I don't know.
But it's not flavoring.
No, not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
Which is a big difference. And I think you can tell that when you're with some other companies, like, or with seltzers and stuff with like White Claw, you're like, oh, this is a artificial flavoring. I mean, it says it on there, and then you'll try something that has real juice and you're like, oh, this is a completely different flavor profile.
And then I couldn't say like everything that's on the can is in the
right
can.
there.
Right.
Exactly.
And it would go against like the ethos that we were talking about earlier. So it's kind of,
Right.
That's the way we think about it.
All right, what are we on to next?
I'm going to pour you guys.
Oh, I just chugged mine.
We're on to spirits.
Spirits, you ready to do this?
I am.
So I've found
deep breath. Just kidding.
Way to do this is to do the vodka ones first.
Okay.
And so we'll start with the passion fruit vodka. Just a little bit of pineapple, obviously some sparkling water, a little bit of lemon. We say flip and sip.
I just saw that. I didn't.
So
I mean, I've bought these and had them at home, but I don't think I read that part.
it's not a big deal, but think about it. We're using organic juice.
Right. So
if you buy like juice at the store, it just settles a little bit. So
it's like the midnight painkiller.
Yeah.
I drink that one a lot too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a closet JuneShine. But that one is like, because it has activated charcoal, so you have to like flip that too, right?
Yeah. So we like to give you a little idea of how we want it to be served, right? And so the juice will settle a little bit, so it's best just to give it a little flip. What's interesting about this one, to me, this is our we haven't been doing this for very long, so it's not like I have a bunch of amazing sales data to share, but it is going really well. And we also have a lot of work to do, but I'm not a vodka drinker. It's just not something I like.
I was maybe about 12 years ago.
Are you?
But like now.
Not anymore?
Now. Yeah.
Well, maybe in the same way.
Yeah.
Like vodka drink, like I think we talked about it before, like vodka Red Bull drinker.
Oh,
not like a other type of vodka drinker. I don't know.
Yeah. But even like a martini or something, like I don't.
Yeah. I mean, because usually the time I tell them to just put gin in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my
martinis. Substitute for the gin, please. 1920s.
I think, isn't gin like the traditional way anyway?
It depends.
Depends?
Yeah.
I don't know much about
it. It depends. Gin did come out with, that is right. Because it was the gin martinis type of drinks that were out before. And then I think vodka got introduced later, but it took over in terms of, because I believe it was cheaper to sell.
I'm sure it's probably cheaper to make, for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's the reason why like a lot of them went more towards it. And then when you did have something with gin, then it was, a little bit more expensive. Yeah.
James Bond drinks gin, right?
Yes.
I mean,
and that probably upped it a little bit too. Yeah.
So anyway, my point, this is
not your normal vodka.
Yeah, it's not something I would normally drink, but I think the cocktail is so refreshing, and I really like it.
Yeah,
I think they're delicious. Honestly.
I mean, that passion fruit is really
I remember the first time I ever had. I was like, "What?" Like double take, like making sure you're reading all the ingredients again. It's like, I don't know. With vodka, I don't know. I wouldn't have thought to put it with, pineapple juice, and I don't know. It's just such a nice flavor.
Yeah, it's really refreshing. And so far, it's been really well received. I think a lot of people have a similar mindset to me, which is not really a vodka person. But every time you get somebody to taste it, they're really into it.
Yeah.
It's just like, you got to get over this like little mental hurdle.
Well, I think back to like college vodka, which you're like, oh.
That's like college beer, right?
Yeah. And so you're like,
Keystone or something?
Yeah, Keystone. Or it's like pop off, like plastic handle vodka. Where you're like, that's not good for my mind or what, like it's for my body, like whatever. And so I think there's like this mental thing where you're like, I'm going to try it. And it's surprised, like shockingly like, oh, this is great. Yeah.
It's not like pouring it in the bathtub with a bunch of fruit juice at a party. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Jungle juice?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A hunch punch.
Yeah.
What is hunch punch?
Just what you think it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Punch that's going to get you hunching.
Oh, God.
That's hilarious.
I don't think I've ever heard. Well, obviously, I've never heard that.
It's the same. I mean, it's the same as jungle juice where you just pour a bunch of stuff and and they just named it something different.
Oh, that's good.
They probably put a little extra something in there to just get people going.
Yeah.
Yeah, before you know it. Yeah, my twins came from Hunch Punch.
Oh, gosh. What a story.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, this is definitely good. I love the smell of that.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed at all by that.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, and no added sugar.
No, which, so Paige and I were talking earlier, and I was like, yes, you learn all these things, like there's all these different rules with spirits, and we're learning things. And so on this 4-pack, on the bottom, there's this QR code. And I don't want to say it was an afterthought because that's not the case. We certainly did it intentionally, but like we put it on there, and when you hit it with your phone, it'll take you to our website, and it compares all the other canned cocktails from a like sugar and caloric standpoint.
Oh, wow.
And people love it. Like they're really happy that we did it. And I think when we do some new packaging, we might put it more,
make it a little more prominent. Yeah.
And so we're learning, right? We're just like trying to figure these things out as we go. But the no added sugar thing is a really, really important component. And I think selfishly, it means that I can have 3 or 4 of these and the hangover's not too bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's still alcohol, right? You're going to be dehydrated or whatever. But like this ranch water, which we'll get to, there's nothing in it. It's lime, tequila, lemon, and soda water. It's as clean as it gets. And so when you're drinking that and you're having a few of them, you're not putting a bunch of weird stuff in your body.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, I put enough bad shit in my body that it's nice to like at least know
like,
that.
Well, now
right.
I'm being more conscientious about it.
Have a few JuneShines and
everything's fine.
Hit your step goal for the day and life's perfect.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I think it like goes into that like kind of a segue into just like the demographics and how like Gen Z has kind of been labeled as very health conscious, and like they don't drink as much alcohol as the generation before them, and you know how they're all turning 21 now, but their drinking habits are so different and stuff. So it's just really interesting just thinking about, you know, how the alcohol industry has to adjust and continue to be creative and innovative to kind of stay relative to have consumers.
For sure. And they're not going away, right?
No.
Yeah.
And like, you know that commercial where it's like, oh, don't act like your parents or something?
Oh, I think it's not Progressive.
It's like an insurance company.
It's an insurance company, but the guys like coaching them, and they I love that commercial. That's one of my favorites.
You don't want to be the get off my lawn guy. You know what I mean? And so they're not going away, and they're buying cocktails, and we appreciate them for it. And so instead of trying to swim upstream, maybe we should just figure out what they want and make it for them.
Even though Gen Zs they're like hardcore pushing it, I think millennials, we have wanted it. We just didn't know how it would come about. Yeah. Because that's the way I think of it. I think, because when I think about myself and being a millennial, I've always wanted a healthier type drink. I just didn't know if it was possible to have that. And I think that Gen Z came in and was like, no, hardcore, it needs to be healthier. Yeah. You know, in order for us to be able to consume it. And I think that with them having that hard press on it, then that's what made companies go, okay, let's see if we can really make this happen.
Figure it out. Yeah. So I think millennials started with that in like organic and farm to table and like pushing that. And I mean, you know, wanting that for themselves and stuff, and then making it more of a standard. And then it just, you know, it's just like natural. And their kids was like,
listen, we can go harder, mom.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. And also, they, all of them, and in a huge bucket, they understand that these are the things they're looking for, right? Like they're gonna see no added sugar. That means something to them, you know, and
because that's the reason why I pointed it out, because it means something to me.
Yeah, you know? Totally.
Trying to take down more of my, you know, sugar intake or salt intake. I'm looking for things, as you know, that says like salt free or no added sugar or any of those things. Yeah.
And look, the alcohol companies, these big, huge companies, right? There's a lot of sugar in these things. Like, if you get a canned cocktail from one of our competitors, or you look at the box on there, you will freak out. Like, sometimes they're 300-400% more sugar. And so it just depends on, you know, it's not all apples to apples, and not everybody's the same. Right. I'm not trying to lump anybody together.
What's that, Crown Royal, when they did with the Coke? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, imagine like soda and
there's a lot of it in there.
Bourbon, like, which is already sweet.
Yep.
So this means something to people. It certainly means something to us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to be progressive a little bit and also get people what they want. And look, I'm not a millennial, but it doesn't mean I don't want to put something healthy in my body, right? Mm-hmm. And I think to your point, I can't remember when you said Gen Z, like pushing it or whatever.
Yeah, me. Mm-hmm.
I think the key is it more available, right? If you can find it more places. Yeah, exactly. Like then when one person does it and they do it well, then more will follow. And then hopefully at some point we get to a place where there's a lot of really great
I think of like that. Anytime I hear gluten-free, that's the way I look at it. Because gluten-free was the same way. It was like one company was like, oh, we're going to do this gluten-free because people started copping up with like these gluten allergies.
Yeah.
And they was like, okay, well, we'll start gluten-free. And before you knew it, almost every bread on the shelf was gluten-free at that point.
Or had a gluten-free option.
Yeah.
And you can find good ones now, right?
Yeah.
And so this is the good one.
Because it was like a cardboard taste.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like dairy too.
Yeah.
Like I can't have dairy, but I'm like, there's a lot of like dairy free like
and now
alternatives that are good. Yeah. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'd kind of rather have this anyways. Over
so JuneShine is your taste good, less sugar added go-to beverage.
Yes. And it really is.
That's my commercial.
Yeah. And it is. Yeah. You guys nailed it. Nailed it on that.
Yeah. So I'll get you the next one here. So this next one, I like to tell stories with each of them and my own personal experience.
Yes, we love drinking stories. So,
do you guys know the Royal Rooster? Do you know that spot?
The Royal Rooster. Where is it?
No.
It's like in Mission Beach. It's on the water. Kind of there in the bay. And
the ginger smell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
the Mule, is that what?
Yeah, same thing. The vodka Mule.
Okay.
So just ginger lime. This one's interesting because the no added sugar thing, you can't have a Mule without sugar. So instead of using sugar, we used agave, which I guess, it's better than processed sugar for sure. But I don't know, maybe a month ago we were riding bikes down there and we stopped at this place and my team had done a really good job and we had Mule in there, and I hadn't had one in a while.
Yeah,
because I really like the ranch water and the margarita a lot.
I can't wait to I'm a huge tequila drinker.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm like, hurry up with the rest of them. Come on,
I'm ready for that
tequila. You know the Sonic ice? You know what I'm talking about when I say that? Like that little cube.
Yeah.
So this account has like this Sonic ice, and they had this, and I had been on a bike ride, and so we sat down and ordered a snack and like poured this thing on the Sonic ice, and I was like, this is delicious.
Yeah.
And I had two of them and had a hard time getting the bike home. It was just like, whoa, this is like a little...
Sounds like a good time to me.
So anyway, it's super refreshing. It's a classic Mule outside of the fact that we're using agave instead of sugar. I think the other point is that like a lot of places when they make Mule, they'll use the ginger beer, which depending on which ginger beer you get may have some other sort of synthetic additives or erythritol or stevia or something. So this is not that. But that's super classic, really refreshing.
I like the bite. Just the ginger bite.
That's why I always like stuff with ginger. When I first started being introduced to like the mules, just any kind of mule, I was like, I like this only because of the ginger. It doesn't matter what they put in. Yeah. After that point, I was like hooked on the ginger because I like things with like a little bite to them. Yeah, a little spice.
Somebody told me this a couple days ago, and I had the same experience, and I had never thought about it before. But you know the pickled ginger when you eat sushi, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like at first, I didn't really like it. And then the more you kind of are around it and taste it, the more it grows on you. And I think that's kind of what everyone's experience is with ginger. It can be sort of polarizing.
Yeah.
But if you're into it, to your point, like, I'll have a bourbon Mule, a tequila Mule.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just drop a bunch of ginger in there. And I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our Mule. These are the 2 vodka flavors that we have. So we launched like 3 months ago, roughly, and
so you've been busy.
We only do we have 5 total SKUs.
Oh wow!
So it's been really cool. But yeah, that's a Mule.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit, but like the sourcing for the spirits, is that with local like San Diego companies?
So the Mai Tai, which you'll taste in a minute, we get from Malahat, which is super cool.
They're in, is that Mira Mesa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over there where everybody else is.
Oh, in that area.
Yeah. And then the tequila, we source from Tequila, a pretty cool company, and the operation team got to go down there and like pick it out and
awesome.
Go through it, which is kind of interesting. And then the vodka is just like neutral grain, means vodka. I can't really explain the details, but let's say this. One of the largest vodka manufacturers in the United States, it's like something similar that they use. How about that?
Okay.
Seems like
a pop-off?
No.
Just kidding.
No pop-off.
No, just kidding.
That's reserved for bathtubs.
For hunch. Exactly.
What is it? Hunch punch. Hunch punch.
Yep.
Hunch punch.
Put that in hunch punch. Yeah.
The creator of Twins.
Right.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So there's 2 tequilas.
Oh, you have 2. Oh wow. Oh.
And then there's
We've got
I'm not gonna say I'm excited, but I am.
and then there's a Mai Tai.
Oh.
So it's all pretty interesting.
So 2 vodkas, 2 tequilas, and a Mai Tai.
Yeah.
The rum.
And the Mule and the Ranch Water came out like a month after, 6 weeks after the other 3 SKUs.
Okay.
So they're probably not as widely distributed yet. But we're starting to get to a place, which I think is fun, where like you can get these in some of the AVPs, like Albertsons, Vaughn's, Pavilions.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can get them in some of the Ralphs. Like it's not super widely distributed yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask where can people find it?
Yeah, I mean, Whole Foods is a big partner with us nationally, so I always try to plug them just because we have similar ethos. They're big supporters of us, and you can always find everything JuneShine at Whole Foods. But yeah, I mean, you can find it in a lot of places now. We're starting to get some pretty
I found it in
significant.
Bevmo.
Yeah, Bevmo has it. Like, really, it's a credit to like our team. Our team's pretty good. So,
Hi, I'm Rachel Beld, President and CEO of the Vista Chamber of Commerce. Over the last 20 years, I've had the privilege of living and working in Vista. And I've met some amazing people with amazing stories. And I'm thrilled to bring them to you as part of Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast, where I interview the movers, shakers, and change makers impacting the Vista community and beyond. I hope you'll join me as we journey together to hear the stories of the people doing amazing things for our town. Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts.
Elias, I got an idea. We're going to do a podcast. It's called Industry Insights.
That's what everybody's doing these days, like a podcast. But who are we going to target? What?
Well, this one is different because this one's going to target content creators.
Content creators? So that means film, television, animators, AI artists, everything, huh?
Yeah, all of them. We can inspire all of them. We'll bring some high caliber people in here. Not only will they learn how to get into the industry, but how to be successful.
But the thing is, sponsorship. We had to go after things, and how we're going to do that?
Yeah, the Film Hub. We're going to sponsor it. We'll do it right here at the Film Hub in downtown Vista. Yeah, we'll sponsor it too.
Great.
Yeah, we got the podcast studio right here. We got stages, whatever you want to use. We got it here. And right here in film-friendly Vista. Where else would you do it? And you know where they can listen to it?
Where?
Go YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcast.
What about Metaverse?
Meta what?
Yeah, so this is ranch water. I forgot to slip.
Oh dear. Just kidding.
The ranch water, there's been some confusion on.
Well, yeah, I was like, you had to before the point. Show, we were kind of talking about what we were going to be doing, and I was like, he's like, I brought ranch water. I was like, what is that? Like, 'cause I'm seeing it all over the place. Yeah, it seems like it's just, So I just was like, I don't even know what that means, though.
Yeah, no, I think so I don't know. I could be messing up the story, so
don't quote you.
No, 100% here, but basically,
that's the first thing we do
in Texas. I think is where the cocktail originated. Obviously, technically originated in Mexico, but I don't know that they called it a ranch water. Right? But in Texas, a cocktail with tequila, lime, and Topo Chico became a thing, and people were drinking this at a bunch of bars. I think it started in Austin, kind of, and then kind of grew out. Now, like, I don't know, you could find a company called Ranch Water, and every seltzer company has a ranch water. But what ranch water actually is just a cocktail with sparkling water. Technically Topo Chico. We don't use Topo Chico, but lime, lemon, and tequila.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so it's really simple. It's really clean.
It's
yeah, Miss Tequila Drinker. What you got?
I feel like that this is something that I would want to like have a cigar with, because I do kind of taste that almost like a smoky feel. The way of what's giving it to me, and it's probably because of the you got lemon and lime in there, and they both have very distinct tastes, even though people think that they the same, but they don't.
Yeah.
It's definitely a bite to it, but I also feel like I should be like around the fire, like drinking this.
Yeah. I think too, like
on a ranch.
It's like spirit
so fitting
forward, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Like the tequila is the point.
Yeah.
And the other stuff's kind of a vehicle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what is given.
I do
trust
once you said the smokiness, like I can taste that too.
Yeah, because I just felt like I smoked a cigar and drank it.
Like a mezcal.
Yeah.
Which is like super smoky where you're just like you can breathe in the smoke almost.
Yeah.
But
do you guys like mezcal?
No.
No?
No. I don't. I mean, and I've had some good ones. I think it's the smokiness of it. It just like lingers too long for me to be able to enjoy it. And I've had it in like, some cocktails and stuff like that, but I don't know. I know some people, like my husband, he loves it.
Really?
Yeah, he'll drink it like
Is he a cigar smoker?
No.
He's not? Okay.
No.
Because usually cigar smokers really like it.
Yeah.
Or people who smoke, period. Kind of really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a super unique flavor.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, very unique.
I kind of dig it. It's not like I drink a lot of it, but I kind of dig it.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, he doesn't drink it every night or anything, but he's like, oh, yeah, I'll take
From the way that you said it?
Yeah, I know.
You drinking JuneShine in the closet.
I drink this. You drink this mezcal.
Because we're always thinking, like, about new flavors, right? Like, we just got started, so they're good questions. It's like, I don't know. Maybe people really like mezcal. I don't know.
Some people, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like where you said there's like the polarizing, some people really like it and some people won't. And there's going to be some of that with that.
I think that'll naturally occur to you with all of them, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Who knows?
That's true.
But anyway, the ranch water is delicious.
It's great.
Yeah, it really is.
So.
It tastes like it'll go really great with like tacos or burrito or that's the kind of the feel I feel.
Plenty of that around here, right?
Oh, for sure.
No shortage in San Diego.
I know.
For sure.
Okay, so then this is the margarita. This is our bestseller.
I had that with ceviche. It was amazing.
It
oh, really?
Yes. It was so good with aguachiles, and it was like, this is the perfect pair. Like it was awesome.
I'm so glad.
I did a lot of homework.
It makes me happy because the comment that I've heard a lot, and this is like this is, in my opinion, this is the best positive feedback we could get. People, I've heard this a ton of times. People say, this tastes like a margarita. I would make it my house. And it's like, what does that tell you?
That means it's not like full of sugar.
What does that tell you, right? That tells you that they're, when they are making one for themselves, they want it to taste legit. Like, they're not going to put a bunch of stuff in it, right? They want
like the mix.
Yeah, exactly. Because the mix has stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's what we've heard a lot, and I think that's pretty great feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so as we taste this one, which I'm super excited about tasting, let's. This is the part of the show where we kind of bring in your drinking story.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Wait, you forgot to pour me some.
Oh yeah, just forgot.
You all have to drink because.
Oh, pour! You said pour.
Yeah. Yep.
We do it, so we gotta drink.
Cheers. Okay.
So this is the part where we want to hear, and it could be anything that has to do with like a great drinking story or something that enlightened you with a certain drink, or drinking story that got you saying that I'm going to apply a JuneShine.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything.
So I was thinking a lot about this, and and there's a lot of them that are probably not safe for the podcast, right? Or
listen, we don't have any. They're not safe. Now, but, it depends on how you want to look at it for your own well-being and job.
Exactly. That's probably a better way to frame it.
With me saying it on our podcast, I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, but yeah.
So, I was thinking about one that's like kind of inspiring.
Yeah.
And it's how I decided to like get into this business. It came from a drinking story. So, after college, I worked for a distributor. And this is probably like 2008-ish. And we sold Stone. I didn't live here. I lived in New Mexico. So I should probably start there. So
you're not in San Diego. You're in New Mexico.
I'm in New Mexico, and we sold Stone. I was a distributor rep. And we got this beer, and it was their anniversary beer. And I don't remember which one. I'm going to say like maybe their 10th anniversary or 11th anniversary.
So you were selling Stone brewing beer.
Brewing beer in New Mexico.
So for the people out there that's not familiar with Stone.
Yeah, sorry.
Because San Diego
lingo.
New Mexico do have stones. You know what I mean? You can go mine.
This is a good point.
So we got to make that distinction.
Yeah. So Stone Brewing, I'm selling it as a distributor to these accounts, and this anniversary beer comes in, and this is before craft like really took off. And so I pull a case, and I had like all these accounts that would be interested in this kind of stuff. Like my route was like, I don't know, just more of the accounts that would buy this stuff, the nicer liquor store, crafty places. And so I had this case of anniversary beer from Stone, and I go to my second account and I pull a bottle out and grab this guy, and it's like, this is the biggest beer store in the city, and I'm going to taste him on this beer and try to get him to buy it. And I pour this beer out, and we're all like standing around. It's like the owner and me and this buyer guy, a few other people taste it. And I take a drink of this beer, and I have like an emotional reaction. And I've never had beer like this. And I was always like into craft. I like wine a lot. I was selling wine at the time. I was drinking like a lot of Sierra Pale, like, that kind of thing. But it was like no beer I'd ever had. And it was their anniversary beer. It was a black IPA that eventually, years and years later, they redid, and it became Sublimely
self-righteous. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that beer.
Exactly.
That black IPA.
And so he's like, yeah, I'll take a few cases or whatever. And I said, can you bring in an extra case? I'm going to come back by and buy it.
Oh, wow.
And so I came back and I bought the case, and that day I decided that I wanted to work for Stone. And, then like we sold a lot of it, and every time somebody from Stone would come to the market to visit, I would be the guy that they rode with, because my route had the craft accounts. And so I got to know them, and then, you know, they recruited me to go work for them. And that's
awesome.
like, I ended up working at Stone, right?
Yeah.
But that taste of that beer was like this moment in my life where I was like,
it changed your life in the way that you,
yeah. Like I mean, it was, first of all, it was innovative as hell, right? It's a black IPA. No one was doing that. And then also it was just really good.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's kind of a cool story.
So what emotion was that was brought up for you?
I just didn't know that people could make beer like that.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at it and it looks like a stout, and you're expecting like vanilla and all these like dark flavors, heavy.
Yeah, and it's not. It's none
and
of
then
that.
you taste it, and you're like, oh wait, this is like a West Coast IPA, which I love.
Yeah,
and it was higher alcohol, so it had way more flavor. It was just like really big and bold. It was probably like, I think Sublimely was maybe a little less than 9%, but that anniversary beer was probably closer to 10.
Oh wow!
But it was really hopped up. You know how Stone does things, so. Anyway, yeah, it just kind of like made me think like, wow, this is super cool.
Yeah.
And at that time I was way more into wine than I was beer. And it like completely flipped. I was just like, okay.
I love that you said that there was like this emotion behind it. Like, because when I think about different alcohols, most people don't think about like that emotion that brings them to, oh wow, like this is like changing. This is innovative for me. This is something I've never had or never tasted before. And then you actually admitting like, oh no, I had a literal like emotion feel for it, you know, makes me really happy, because when I think about like how alcohol really brings us together, that's how it brought you together in terms of like, I need to be out here like selling it and letting people know like what's out here, what's going on, how to, you know, the different things that are happening, and kind of bringing that together. So I absolutely love that. I mean, as a therapist, I'm going to love it. So
but you're so right. Like, think about, I don't know, in your travels, like where you've sat on some amazing patio and had some beverage, and it may not be like something you love now or drink all the time or whatever, but like you had an experience that made whatever that beverage was taste like so much better. And I think
that's like what we are bringing with this podcast, period. So you being able to say that, I love that people get to hear that. They get to hear that you can also have this emotional feeling when it comes to like tasting different things, because it could change your life in such a way. Because people always think about alcohols, you know, if you have an emotional feeling, it's like, oh, I'm either too happy or I'm too sad, you know. So when you say that this is like, oh no, this was a change in terms of where I was with beer, coming from being from wine, and now I want to educate others. Because I heard you say earlier in terms of like what your company does in terms of educating the different markets, to letting them know. So that is amazing. Yeah.
Well, you guys
absolutely love that.
Facilitating emotions, right?
Yeah.
With the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's cool. I don't know. I think that we could all do things. We could all have different jobs that weren't as rewarding, that might pay more or do other, like help other parts of your life, right?
Yes.
But what we're doing is really cool. Like, I mean, this is amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Like seeing JuneShine on the shelves, obviously, of course, you know, I see it on the shelves here in San Diego and think, okay, another company. Yeah. And then, but it's a healthier company. And now hearing, like, not only from where you come from in terms of you're in the perfect position. You know what I mean? Like, you're in the perfect position.
I hope my boss listens to this. Right. You know what I mean?
Give this man a raise, okay?
Yeah, there you go. Now you're talking.
You're in the perfect position to do this because you had that emotional like feeling that came from it. Yeah. And for you to be able to sell it and talk to other people to try to get them to understand, and then having a knowledge of like, no, this is where the market is going and it's going to keep going this market. So you might want to join us in this market, you know, and having that so that they also can have that. And then that makes a lot of sense on why JuneShine brings in influencers. Yeah. Because now when you think about influencers, what they do influence people. So with that influencing people, here we go. You can create your own thing. So now other influencers are going to want to, hit you up.
Yeah,
like I also want to make something that is going to influence people, and knowing that you guys are doing it in this market where everyone is now on a healthier kick. This is
cool, right?
it. This is
cool.
it.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool.
It's beyond the cans and the drink for me now. Yeah,
it is. And the artwork's rad.
Yeah.
I
love it.
And and I think all of it like has to connect, right? So,
yeah.
Well, it has to be authentic.
Yeah. And it is. Yeah, this is super cool. I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
I love every bit of this. Yeah.
How you feeling about the margarita?
I mean, it's tequila. I'm gonna like it anyway.
It's fantastic. I think you guys did a fabulous job.
I'm glad.
And I get that point of when they say I make it at home. Because when you make a margarita at home, you're gonna want more alcohol tasting than the actual mixer.
Oh, yeah.
That's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the mixer, the alcohol is in there, and I have that mixture as like that. Okay, I know that this is a margarita, but I'm really trying to taste that tequila.
And
that's going on.
You're exactly right. And take it like a step further. So if you're making it at home, what are you doing? You probably have fresh lime.
Yep.
You probably have an orange.
Yep.
Well, guess what? Like, that's what's in here.
Yeah.
There's sea salt in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
and I read that and I was like,
a little salt.
that
So,
is amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
It's really, every time somebody says it to me, it makes me happy. Because it's like, that's what we're going for.
And you guys nailed it.
A cocktail that you would make at home.
Yep.
Without all the crap.
The stuff in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do our last one.
right,
We've got
This is the Mai Tai. I mentioned the Malahat thing, which I think is cool. Obviously, local craft San Diego rum. Now, there's one sort of thing that I feel like I got to preface with the Mai Tai, which is that we have coconut in it.
Oh.
And
I kind of expected that.
some people, I don't even know if there's like a real official Mai Tai recipe. I was in Hawaii last week, and people were loving it. We were opening Hawaii, and I was kind of worried, right? You're like, oh, well, hey, our Mai Tai has coconut. And they're like, oh, no one. Oh, that's we just delicious. Grab a bunch of booze and put it in for tourists.
Yeah.
Whatever.
they're not paying attention to that. Yeah.
So, no one's asking what the ingredients
it does have
are.
Coconut, but I think it's great. And the can's really cool.
Sweetness to it. Yeah.
You know, it looks much different, in my opinion, than the rest. So it's kind of cool.
Well, yeah, and it's this tropical Mai Tai. You know, like I think you can sneak some coconut
get away
in
with
some tropical stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the 5, and then we've done a Costco pack, like kind of off and on, and in the
for
Costco
the
pack,
spirits or
for the spirits.
Haven't seen that one.
Because it was sort of in and out, and I'm sure we'll do it again.
Okay.
And that one had a mango margarita. It was like the one extra, variety pack kind of purchase thing. And so that's the only other one that we've made. And then we're just like, I don't know, we have a really awesome team that's like trying to figure out what kind of cool stuff we
other
can do.
fun things to do. So where else can people find you? Like stores, social, website, like all of that good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think stores wise, like I said, Whole Foods is great, but you can find it at a fair amount of Ralph's and Pavilions and Albertsons and Vons. And then a lot of independent liquor have it. So we're at, we're at like 4-ish months basically.
Oh, with
launched.
spirits. Yeah.
Yeah. And so by now the team has it in a lot of places.
Okay.
I would say it's not going to be really difficult to find.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there like a finder on your website?
There is a finder on the website. So it's just JuneShine.com. And there's a store locator on there. It's right in the top. You click on it and it'll tell you where to go.
Yeah, very easy. I've used it.
Socials.
Yeah. So same, it's just at JuneShine. Yeah, it's all on the box. The social thing's really cool, actually. Just, I feel like we have an awesome marketing team.
Oh, like for real.
And
like I was looking at the YouTube.
Fantastic.
And I was like, wow, this is like well done.
Yeah.
Especially to be such a young company too. I loved it. It was amazing.
I mean, hopefully, outside of present company, the takeaway should be that our team is badass.
Yeah.
Like, and all of them, when I think about the people I work with and what we're doing, it takes a really good team to do that.
Yeah, because the steel, I think I saw one where it was this, like the steel frame with Diplo.
Yeah.
That one was totally awesome. Yeah, to think about, like, and then it describes like all the stuff that are in the drink. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. And in order, I feel like we have something special. And in order for that to happen, it takes everybody, right? Like the finance team has to be amazing. The operations team, the production team, like everybody sort of has to like pull their own weight. And I feel like we have that.
Yes.
And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just from the outside looking in, I can see that is in play.
Yeah. And people, it resonates with people because it's real.
Yeah.
You know?
Authentic.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chris.
Hey, thank you guys.
For coming in and giving us all of this.
So glad we could help you with your, being a being on a podcast.
Yeah. I'm no longer a virgin.
And there you are.
So now you know, of how this works. But thank you so much and for bringing all of this in and letting us taste it and giving us a little education on it, because this company is definitely one of the ones who stands out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate being here. I think it's helpful for us too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and give Chris a raise. I don't care what y'all do.
This is what I'm talking about, Natasha. This is what I'm talking about.
And that's why I came on the podcast.
You can be my agent.
Right.
It doesn't pay well, but you can get free drinks.
Yeah, but thank you.
Tequila's good.
Yeah. Trust me, it is. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
So much. And that is the end.
Yeah. Odd Pairing signing off.
Yep. Thanks for listening and watching Odd Pairing. So please subscribe, like, rate,
And comment with your favorite drinking stories and curiosities about adult beverages.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I'm going to happy hour. Who's driving?
I'm going to walk.